the funny thing is, this information, I don't go searching for it. It finds me. I don't care to go search. I mean, if I get spoilers, great. But I never do it like, a month before the season starts. Like, okay, I got to get in Bachelor mode. I got to go find out. I got to do some research. I don't do anything. But this stuff finds me. So that's the thing I want to make perfectly clear. Like, I don't care whether or not I ruin the show for people, but I'm not going out of my way because I'm not getting paid for this. I don't make a dime off my site. I'm doing this for fun. So it's one of these things where if people are gonna tell me stuff, I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna corroborate it. If it's good enough and it's juicy enough, yeah, I'll go with it. And this stuff obviously was, and I know it's real, but this stuff found me. I did not lift a finger looking for doing investigative work on this. Since I found the information, I've had to make phone calls and had to send out emails, but like I said, up until Monday afternoon, last Monday, I had nothing on this season, and it just all of a sudden fell into my lap once again. And
okay, well, let me ask you this:
it's weird how it finds me.
You can't tell us who or how, but can you tell us why? What is the motivating factor for these people who give you this inside information?
I think they know I'm an independent. Because I'm an outside organization. I have no affiliation with ABC. I have no affiliation with anybody involved in the show in terms of working with them in the past or anything like that. I think they just know that because of the Jason, Molly, and Melissa thing, they just feel that they can come to me because I've never given up my sources. I think they feel comfortable telling me stuff because they know I'm never going to reveal my sources. And they know that they can kind of use me as a mouthpiece and can kind of be like, well, we know this guy's not going to give us up, or we know this guy's not going to give us up in terms of, us telling him this information. So
you're saying,
why don't we go to Reality Steve because he seems to be the authority on The Bachelor. What?
All right, so you're saying it's basically disgruntled employees that get a sense of satisfaction to get the information out there safely without losing their jobs? Is that what you're saying?
I wouldn't call it disgruntled employees. I would just call it people involved in some aspect in the show. Because you got to remember, my background, I grew up in Orange County, California. I went to college in California. I worked in sports talk radio in California from 1997 to 2006. So I know people in the media, not necessarily that work on The Bachelor, but I know people in LA who work in TV, who work in production, who work in editing for maybe other shows that know people who work on The Bachelor. But it varies. I have connections because I lived in LA pretty much all my life. And from 1997 to 2006 after college, I lived in LA and I was in the media. So I've made friends and I've made connections and I've kept in touch with people, and Facebook has definitely helped. A lot of people have found me through Facebook. It's a whole myriad of things. Like here's something I'll tell you. Back in either November or December, when I put on my blog that I knew that there was going to be a date this season at SeaWorld. Like, not very big news. I mean, yeah, you're going to see next week that Ella and her son get the date at SeaWorld. But at the time, when I mentioned it, I didn't know who, they hadn't announced the names of the Bachelorettes, and this was before they even started filming, so I didn't know it was Ella and her son. But I mentioned in a blog, oh, by the way, I just found out there's going to be either a group date or a one-on-one at SeaWorld this year. Well, it just so happened that I was just emailing a friend of mine who had a friend who worked at SeaWorld in San Diego and said, hey, yeah, we just got everything in our inbox today. We were just notified that the Bachelor television show is going to be here filming in a couple weeks, and we all have to sign confidentiality agreements. So I just went with it, and I said, oh, by the way, stuff like that. I mean, like I said, I didn't go looking for that. It just fell into my lap. And it's stuff like that I hear. And I didn't even know who this person was that worked at SeaWorld. And I didn't even follow up to say, when is it taking place? I just went with, by the way, there's going to be a date at SeaWorld. But I didn't have to tell why. And that's not even a big deal. Like, you're going to see that next week. So who cares? But, so that's how I get some of my stuff. Just random emails and people on Facebook that, oh, I work here and I heard this and I heard that and I saw this. I was there for the taping and whatever, just it's all different. It comes from all different places. It's really bizarre.
Well, do you ever hear from any of the producers from these shows, or have you ever gotten any threats for the information that you release?
If you wind up whacked, are we
no,
gonna
that's
know
the funniest thing. No, that's the funniest thing is that ever since last February when I broke the Jason Momoa Melissa thing, so here we are almost a year later. I have never been contacted once by anyone at ABC, anyone at Next Entertainment, anyone at Warner Horizon, people at the production company behind the show. Nobody has ever told me shut up. Nobody's ever never had any contact with anybody because I'm not doing anything wrong. I have First Amendment rights to report what I'm going to say. Now, if I said on my blog, Mike Fleiss is a child molester, I can get in trouble for that because I don't have any proof. He's not a child molester, but he sure looks like one. That's why I put his picture on my site today.
I think we just got a Frankenbite out of you.
Yeah, it's something like that. I mean, I can't go on my blog and say something like that because that's defamatory and I'm making stuff up. I'm just making stuff up. But all the stuff I'm doing is just First Amendment. Like, hey, this is what I've heard. Here's what I got. Here's what I got for you. And if I'm wrong, then the show will prove me to be wrong, and then people won't listen to me. But I'm not going to run with stuff that I don't thoroughly investigate after I hear it and feel comfortable running with. And so I don't. So it's definitely it's interesting, to say the least. It's definitely kind of taken over my life.
What's your relationship with Chris Harrison like? I mean, have you ever? You're both on Twitter. Does he ever tweet you? I'm sure he is aware of who you are. I guess you aren't best buds or anything.
He knows who I am. He knows exactly. And anytime he writes his blog and refers to people out there, rumors, he's talking about me. Never met him. His family lives in Dallas. He was here over New Year's. I was trying to somehow get in touch with him, and I really just talk to the guy. I've never talked to me, but we have no relationship whatsoever. I've never sent him a personal tweet. I just like to react to the tweets that he gives. So I've never personally said anything to him. But he knows exactly. He knows who I am, and
I could be totally wrong about this or delusional, living in Bluebird land or whatever. But I really think that Chris Harrison seems like a nice, genuine guy who always established relationships with the contestants that last. And that maybe he intentionally stays out of all the nastiness and the ugliness and just walks in for the rose ceremony and is truly, he seemed truly choked up during that scene, or is he just a good actor, the scene with Rosalind?
No, he, from every contestant that I've talked to, they all like the guy, but they know he's a mouthpiece for the show. He's only going to do what they tell him to. He's going to say what they tell him to say. He doesn't spend a lot of time on the set. He doesn't mingle. Wes was there for 6, 7 episodes. Wes said I maybe talked to that guy for 10 seconds the whole time I was there. He doesn't hang out. I think he keeps in touch with the people that eventually end up together, like Ryan and Trista and Juliana. He keeps in touch with them, but he's not. He's just saying what the show tells him to do. He doesn't spend a lot of time on the set. He's not. He wants to think he's a little more involved than he is. But everybody that I've talked to said he's a great guy. And I don't doubt it for a second. I'm sure he's a great guy. He's a family man. He's married with 2 kids, beautiful wife, and he's got 2 kids. But he's being paid by ABC and Mike Fleiss and Next Entertainment. So he's not going to say anything derogatory about his own show. That'd be career suicide. So sure. I expect him to say what he says. But you get that guy maybe drunk one night and unfiltered, I'm sure he'll say a couple things that he's probably not supposed to about the show, but he's got to be Mr. Prim and Proper when it comes to the show and talking about it.
I'd say he's probably pretty ignorant by design of a lot of what goes on, I would think. Now, since your interview with Wes, it kind of broke I don't know what you'd really call it, that secret barrier where reality show contestants can't speak, or the risk of whatever that mysterious thing was. What would you say, $5 million or something? Do you think you have kind of unintentionally killed competitive reality shows? I mean, do you see the end of them on the horizon, or should they only broadcast their results show live? Maybe I can't imagine editing those shows in a week, The Bachelor, but I think maybe you've killed reality shows, Steve.
But I wouldn't go that far because Bachelor's the only one that I ever give spoilers on, although I do know kind of what happens on Survivor this season, heroes versus villains. But, Bachelor's the only one I really write about and I spoil. So, no, I don't think I'm killing anything. I think, whatever I do, people are going to watch anyway. 10.5 million people watched on Tuesday night, and I have a following, but I don't have that big of a following. I mean, I know what my numbers are, and I know how many people go to my site on a daily basis, and it's not anywhere in the ballpark of 10.5 million people. So you got to remember, there are plenty of people like yourself and me who are on message boards and read blogs and constantly follow, but I'm telling you, 98% of that 10.5 million people watch the show on Monday and don't think about it until the next Monday night when they see it. It's just the way it is. It doesn't seem like it's that many, but it is. Trust me. There are, for as many people that there's these blogs and the Fort and all these different websites and people that go on the ABC message boards, there are so many people that have absolutely no clue what this show is really about, and just watch it every Monday and be like, oh, okay, I guess that's what really happened. Oh, okay, that's real. It's the way it is.
So would you be happy if The Bachelor was kind of ruined because of in part what you did? I mean, would you feel like you kind of won a battle? Or would you miss it?
It's been going for, I don't think anybody in a million years thought in 2001 when the show debuted it'd be here 19 seasons later. So I don't think it's going anywhere. I really don't. I mean, I just think it's going to run out of time. I just, maybe they'll stop at a certain, maybe they'll make it 20 seasons and then we're done. I think it's coming to an end, but not because, I don't know. I mean, 10.5 million people watched on Monday. If you're a network show and you're getting 10.5 million viewers, you're going to keep that show on the air no matter who it is. It could be dating lizards, but if 10.5 million people are tuning in, they're going to keep that on the air. And so I don't know. It doesn't look like it's going anywhere anytime soon, regardless of if I spoil it or not. And like I said, once again, even though I didn't spoil it and the spoilers are out there, I'm only reaching X amount of people. There's millions of people who haven't heard a damn thing about this season yet. And it's probably going to be the way it is. And that's why, I mean, I can only reach a certain few, and my goal and my motivation is just when there's perception versus reality problems within the show, I just try to help people out and tell them if I do know what really happened as opposed to what they show you. So that's all I like to do.
It's obvious how you feel about the Bachelor, Bachelorette series, but are there any reality shows out there that you feel are above board and a good quality, positive show with, I don't know, behind the scenes, maybe the people there have a higher moral standard? A worthwhile show.
Well, all reality shows have some sort of production value to them to get you to view it. But shows like Biggest Loser and America's Home Extreme Makeover for Home Edition and stuff like that. I mean, that's helping people. I mean, if somebody's going to lose 250 pounds and completely change their life, all the power to them. I mean, I think that has a difference.
It's kind of hard to fake that. It's kind of hard to fake 250 pound weight loss. Unless
Exactly.
they're all wearing fat suits in the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, they're not faking that. Those are really, now granted, the reason that those people lost 250 pounds is because they were sent away to basically a fat farm for 2 months and worked out 6 to 8 hours a day. I mean, they needed that environment or else they never would have lost that much weight. You can't just tell a 450-pound person, hey, start doing these exercises at home. You needed something like that to get you to that point. But, hey, great for them. I'm glad they did it. Helping out a family, a mother who's got disabled children and all of a sudden they give them a new home and stuff like that. That's cool. That's a completely different show than The Bachelor and Rock of Love and all these other crappy shows. American Idol has definitely some production value to it, but hey, if a girl like Carrie Underwood, who had never been on a plane in her life, can get a recording contract and be one of the most successful artists out there in the nation right now, I think that succeeded in what it does. It doesn't always succeed for the winner of American Idol, but it's giving people an opportunity. Any show that gives someone an opportunity that they normally wouldn't have, I'm all for. I have no problem with that.
Okay. All right. Suddenly this flashed in my head, and I don't know why. Back to Rosalind, and we'll let you go here in a second. Was she wearing panties in the photo shoot, or did they just blur out?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that I don't know. I mean, they did blur it out, so I don't. She must have. Maybe she did, and they just didn't. Showing panties on network television at that time of the night, maybe it wasn't acceptable, so they had